So we just saw Death of a Unicorn, which is a A24 film starring Jenny Ortega, Paul Rudd, and Will Holt, the guy from We Are the Millers. This was a movie that had a ton of fun in the pre-production, but in the actual production, it felt like nobody knew what movie they were trying to make. It spans many genres. It's a comedy, it's a thriller, a horror, but it doesn't do any of those things particularly well. And not that any one person wasn't doing any of those things well, it was everybody was trying to do something different really well, if that makes sense. It revolves around this idea that unicorns are real and they have these mystical magic powers, but they are also these like fierce creatures that are, bloodthirsty if you cross them. The unicorns have this ability to heal, and it revolves a little bit around like capitalism trying to profit on that, but then this ancient magic kind of is fighting back against that concept. So it's a little bit of like, modern society, sort of like man versus nature. But again, it kind of fell short on a lot of fronts. The performances, specifically by Paul Rudd from a comedic standpoint, felt like there was so much momentum that was being brought into it, but it wasn't hitting, so the comedy wasn't hitting. Will Poulter's performance was incredibly profound, but it didn't come across on screen. There was some really, really cool lore around the idea, building off the creativity of like, what if unicorns are real? What is the magic around them? But it wasn't fully realized. The horror just sort of dragged on and wasn't really scary or well done in any particular aspect. And so it was a fun movie. Like, I want to like this movie, and I did. I liked the movie in its concept. I liked the movie in what it was attempting to do. But it was a big swing and a bit of a miss, unfortunately, for me. And so I was left just sort of in the movie finding myself, and I think a lot of it was some of the editing, the pacing, the sort of speed of the events that were occurring. I was either feeling like, okay, this is great, there's a lot happening here, or this is just really slow. And there was pretty much no in between for me. Ultimately, I do feel like the movie was too long, but not because there wasn't enough to explore. I just think they didn't spend the time exploring the ideas that I found most interesting about the movie, which was about the unicorns and the lore. And they spent a lot of time trying to make it a horror suspense thriller, which it wasn't, because it wasn't doing it well. It was taking this really unique idea and sort of trying to put it into a vehicle that the idea shouldn't be trying to be put into. I know this is all kind of vague and non-committal, but that is really just sort of the feeling that the movie left with me. There were a lot of things that were done really well. I thought there were moments of the satire that were beautiful, especially in the beginning, where it was setting this great tone, but there was no follow-through on it. One character choice that I really liked, the daughter who's played by Jenna Ortega, she has a vape. I've long thought that, for the amount of cigarettes that are in movies and the emphasis that is on a character detail, there's not very much vapes, which vaping is a humongous part of like the last decade or so's zeitgeist. And so to see that put in a movie was a nice choice, even though it was obviously sort of like satirically put in, but I appreciated that. So yeah, I mean, this movie is one that, don't see it in theaters. It's worth a watch, I think, in streaming, but it's definitely, you got to watch it with an open mind and appreciate the fact that it was a risk. They took a risk, but I don't think the people creating this movie had the chops to pull off, I think, what it was supposed to be like on paper when they were discussing how is this movie going to come across. It's going to be cross genre, but that is a skill. It's a difficult thing to pull off for anybody, but this particular crew didn't, and unfortunately I think it hurt a lot of the performances. I think it hurt a lot of the script. I think it hurt a lot of the concept, and overall just hurt the movie. So I would give this one like a 6 out of 10, but if I were just rating on the concept, I'd give it like a 9 out of 10, because there were so many parts in the movie where I'm like, I love this, let's explore this idea of what if unicorns were real, but kind of like with a twist. And I started thinking about like, what if we did this? What if there's a movie like this on Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster? Because you don't see like those kind of cryptids made into a cinematic piece, whether it's serious or not. And so I'm hoping this opens the door to that. But it just didn't live up to the potential that it had. It had a lot of potential, and it did not live up to it. But I had fun watching it, so there is that.